Hello there, everyone. So today I am going to continue with the Oracle card readings on several key dates in September that the nine have drawn my attention to, and they have given me just a sentence regarding the energetic picture for these dates. And I'm looking into these dates further using the Oracle card deck. And that is the Lemurian Starchild Oracle Deck. That's the deck that I'm using to divine more information about these key dates in September that the nine are drawing my attention to. So the dates I'd like to look at the moment are the 11th of September. So September the 11th, 911. And then the 13th of September. So I'm shuffling the pack and we're going to look at the 11th of September. And the nine have said here on the 11th of September, there will be a dip in energy with some kind of astrological alignment taking place. So they often say there's an astrological alignment. I'm not an astrologer, so I wouldn't know what that astrological alignment is. So I suggest you if you want to go check in with your favorite astrologer, I obviously can recommend Pam Gregory, who is fantastic. I've no idea what's happening on the 11th. I don't really keep up with the dates too much, but I do try and listen to Pam's information when I can. And I always find that Pam's information is very much in alignment with the information I get, which is why we've done some videos together. And we'll continue to do so, I'm sure. So yes, the 11th, a dip in energy. So obviously that's self-explanatory. It's not an energy spike on that day. It's a dip in energy on that day. But there is an astrological alignment. So what is this dip in energy? What's the astrological alignment? I wonder if I should look at two cards for this. Do I need two or one? No, I'm feeling I only need one card. Well, we'll go with that for now and see. Okay, so I cut the pack 3 times and I'm being told to take the 5th card. So I'm going to take the 5th card, which is interesting. It was the 4th card in the last reading. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is the 5th card from the pack. So at the moment, this is going to show me both of these, a dip in energy on the 11th of September and an astrological alignment taking place. But if I need more information, I'll look into further cards. Okay. Sorry, I should show you, shouldn't I? So this is creation. This is the creation card. I'm not picking up anything particularly myself, so I'm going to see if I can get some information from the nine as to how this card aligns with this presentation of the 11th of September, a dip in energy. Let's look at the dip in energy. Okay. Right, okay, so the nine are saying that the dip in energy is not any emotion moving downwards necessarily. It's just that there are multiple cycles moving at the same time. And if you look at a sine wave where it moves up and down, the 11th of September is simply a down move with the sine wave. But there are multiple sine waves and some of them are moving up. So this is the focus on the downward curve, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's anything to do with the way people feel. It's more to do with the movements of energy coming downwards or energy moving upwards, and that's metaphoric. So what I mean by that is energy coming down from antimatter realms, higher dimensional realms, into the physical, or physical energy moving upwards. So energy coming down from the antimatter realms would be bringing a concept or an idea and actualizing that. And the other way around would be taking something actually practical or tangible and using that as a focus for higher dimensional spiritual work. So it's the moving downwards. So this is really about grounding higher dimensional geometry into something practical. So I feel that dip in energy on the 11th of September is about making practical solutions on the ground in actual life, rather than spiritual idea just staying as idea. Because what we've got here is there's the individual face, eyes closed, drawing down this higher dimensional light, this creation. The card is creation. So it's actually making something a creation. So you're using higher dimensional energy to create. And I feel that this is very much an energetic for the whole of September and beyond. More and more, rather than simply having ideas, thoughts and feelings, manifestation, law of attraction, wishes, and just letting them stay in the realm of idea or wish, people are going to be bringing those ideas down and actually creating from them all over the world. And so that's the dip in energy. It isn't a dip in emotional energy. It's the moving down from the higher dimensional realms into the physical. The energy is coming down through creation, through a creative energy, using this photonic light, this the connection with all that has ever happened, all that's happening now, and all that ever will happen, and drawing down these ideas that have been cycled over and over again throughout history in this epoch, in the epoch prior to this one, the epoch prior to that one, throughout time. Ideas have been cycled over and over and over again, presented in multiple different forms to mirror source consciousness. But each single idea comes through the individual in a completely unique way. So I feel that's the dip in energy, the dipping down the sine wave. But there's an astrological alignment taking place, and the only astrological alignment taking place I'm seeing here is an alignment with source, which on the physical level, as in our solar system, would be the sun. So if there's some kind of alignment taking place with the sun, something lining up in alignment with the sun, I know that all the planets do that, but something specific to do with creation. I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know. So I could take a second card here and actually look at what is this astrological alignment taking place? Because there are many different ways to read astrology, not just one model. There are many different models. I don't know them all, but the 9 tell me that you can use a specific point and you can move that point as to where you view astrology from. So you can view astrology from the point of view of Earth or the sun or out in the center of the galaxy. There are different ways to view the perspective of the flow of the planets and the alignments between the planets. And also one can, right, so I've just dropped 2, I'll have a look at those. One can look at the 13th house system as well. So as I said, I'm not an astrologer, I don't know, but the 9 have said to me that the 13th house astrology is the most accurate, although all of them are seeing a picture, and it really depends on the interpretation and the individual that's doing the interpretation. And the reason why astrology is so linked to the tarot and to oracle cards they're all presentations of frequency and of energy. And the cards work on synchronicity and through art. And if the art is channeled art, as this is, and I know because I met the author, if this is channeled art, then the time when the individual uses the cards is already ordained when the artist draws down the original image. So every single time someone draws this card, that's ordained while the artist was painting this, because there is no time. It's not a case of, oh, I'm going to paint something and one day somebody will draw a card. It's all ordained in the same moment. So you key in with the artist. That's why it's quite important to try to access an oracle deck that a human individual that is connected and is channeling actually painted, because that takes you to the highest creative point, because there's more than one creational energy and focus going into the reading. I'm just going to look at these cards I've dropped on the floor, which they just flew out. So we're going to look at the astrological alignment on the 11th of September. So this one here is Divine Cosmic Mother Womb. And this is opening the heart. So again, this is about creation, because you have the womb is the receptacle, the vessel to hold physical creation. And then you have opening the heart, which creates the alignment with, if you will, twin flame energy, the eternal flame, which again is creation. That's the seed to creation. So all of these cards are aligning with one another. So this is a astrological alignment that is seeding or catalyzing creation. I'm not getting any information about what the astrological alignment is specifically, other than it's a creational energy. And I believe it involves the sun because of this photonic light. It looks like a birthing, a cosmic birthing. And because we've got this dip in energy coming in on the same day, I feel that what is occurring on the 11th of September is a cosmic birthing that is made physical, that is made practical, some kind of practical idea or innovation, creation, solution that might normally sit in the realm of idea that's coming into the physical. So highly creative energy here on the 11th of September. Okay, so that's everything for that date. So let's have a look at the next date. So the 13th. Okay, so what the 9 said to me there is, I'm dropping these all over the floor. What the 9 said to me there on the 13th of September is simply a spike in energy. And that's all they said, a spike in energy. So this is an upward moving spike, a high frequency on the 13th. Now, these dates, I'm trying to be as global as possible with this so that this actually occurs all over the planet. But obviously, it's very difficult to say there'll be a spike in energy on the 13th across the globe, because there are different fluctuations of energy in each location, depending on the consciousness of that location. So I personally wouldn't say that this is necessarily going to be the case for every single place across the planet, but I aim for it to be as broad a reading as possible. So maybe the cards will give me more insight into where perhaps this spike in energy may take place, and is it literally the whole of Earth? Okay, so I'm being told to just pick the first card. So there you go. There's the first card. Spike in energy on the 13th. Okay, so the card is Emergence. So this again is about birthing. It's about coming forward. It's about showing itself, something emerging, something coming forward to be seen. So this very much links with what's occurring on the 11th, because you have this dip in energy coming down from the higher dimensional realms of idea and thought into the practical domain of actual solution and innovation and creation. The astrological alignment with the sun and creative energy, and then the emergence. So it seems to me that the 11th to the 13th of September are going to be 11th, 12th, and 13th, 3 interesting days to do with something showing itself in physical reality that has come down from the higher dimensional realms. I'm not seeing any hijack for this particularly. So I'm feeling that this is to do with some kind of organic movement, something within a spiritual focus, something within the starseeds, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. So those 3 days, I would say we have higher creativity manifesting itself and showing itself in our experiential reality that I imagine to be global, but it may not be in every single place across the globe. But I imagine it to be as widespread as possible, seeing as the 9 just said spike in energy. So on the 18th, it's the next date that the 9 drew my attention to. Interesting fluctuations in energy, like a sine wave. So we have another sine wave pattern, but I don't feel that the sine wave on the 18th is the same, has the same meaning as the sine wave I'm seeing for the 11th. So the cards will show me more. I'm asking the energies around through this oracle deck to show me what is this fluctuation in energy on the 18th of September, like a sine wave pattern. And I'm being told to cut the deck 3 times and take the 3rd card. 1, 2, there's the 3rd card. Okay. Let's have a look at this one. So the card is Elven Ones. The Elven Ones. So this could be one of 2 things. Obviously, as you know, I'm writing a novel about the Fae. So it may be that there's information coming forward that will be put into the novel, and then I will be called to come onto YouTube and discuss a new chapter in the novel. That's a possible. But I think more likely what this is referring to is something the 9 told me about a couple of days ago. They said to me that all of the awareness of what has gone before and what is in alignment with us in our alternate realities is coming into our consciousness. It's not that it hasn't been there. It's been there for many, many years with the awakened individuals. For many years, individuals have been able to take this path and discover this lost history, or these lost worlds and lost realms. And I'm talking about Atlantis, Lemuria, and lost beings like dragons, fairies, and the elven ones. The information about this etheric realm, this elemental world, elemental kingdom, it's been there for everyone for, well, the whole of time. But when it comes to the collective consciousness and where the consciousness is regarding the Great Awakening. This is coming into the consciousness now on a large level rather than individual or small group level, all part of the ascension process, especially those who've moved into this Stargate ascension opportunity, which took place September the 8th and September the 9th. So what I'm feeling this is referring to is the Nine was speaking to me a couple of days ago about the opening of the fairy gateway, or the gateway into fairyland, or the portal to fairyland is open. The gateway into the elemental kingdom. So I feel that that's what this is about. This spike in energy on the 13th of September, and 13 is always powerful, is regarding awareness of the elemental realms and the elemental kingdoms and all that goes with that. So Lemuria is very, very related to the elemental kingdoms. The reason being is in Lemuria, the gateways were open and the worlds, the etheric worlds and the newly formed physical world were joined, because as humanity became more and more physical, they moved away from that etheric existence. But in the early formation of Lemuria, the early humanity, if you will, that then came down into more of a third dimensional incarnation were the Elven ones. The Elven ones are humanity in the early stages of formation before the earth became solid, if you will. So that Lemurian past, the Lemurian world, is the early presentation of the beginning of the solidity into physicality, when the individuals at that time held the full crystalline DNA structure, which we're moving back into. And we need to come into an awareness of these worlds, of these kingdoms, as we are moving back into that crystalline state ourselves, as we are manifesting that 12-strand or 144-strand crystalline template within ourselves, which gives us the memory of all that we are. As we do that, we're going to remember that which we were, and that will become joined. That which we were in Lemuria, let's say, if you want to give that world a name, you can go beyond that into the Hyperborean realms, when even before the form was solidified, even into the Elven or the Fae. So that memory comes into a place where all becomes one. And this is the same way to explain this Stargate ascension into the singularity that's going to present as an opportunity, or has presented as an opportunity, on September 8th and September 9th. So what I'm feeling here for September is a series of very similar gateways as the equinox is approached. And all of September appears to have a frequency of this equinox, this September equinox frequency running through it. And these key dates are simply moments of energetic frequency that align with the equinox gateway. And this is all about coming back to who we once were. And the more tribulation and the more working everything out in this presentation where everything comes to light, and that manifests in a third dimensional sense, which can be so world destroying, paradigm destroying for those who are not moving with the energy. At the same time, the polarity to that is coming back more into focus of who you truly are. So on the third dimension, those who are in that way of thinking lose who they are. They lose their rock, their stability, or what they thought was stability. It was always a false stability. It was never real stability. But their perspective is that they lose who they are. They lose the anchor that they held, and they lose the alignment with the environment around them, because the environment around them doesn't make sense to them. So therefore, all that they are doesn't make sense to them, as they lose their place in reality, in their own understanding, as everything seems to crumble and change and either self-destruct or present in ways that are so unexpected as to be outside the realms and boundaries of what is sane and normal. And we've already had this very much so in the novel, in the last 3-year chapters from 2020 to 2023, that has played out in a cycle, and that cycle is coming again in this loop, if you will, for those within the third dimensional consciousness, and this is how it's experienced. But just as those individuals begin to lose themselves and lose sense of who they are and their placement within the environment, the polarity to that, the other side of the bifurcation to that, is those who hold the higher awareness are coming more into the understanding of who they are and the anchoring of who and what they are more than ever before. It's a complete opposing swing. So they come into the truth of who they are. So as the third dimensional consciousness loses who they are, loses that anchor, that stability, the higher dimensional consciousness comes into more understanding of who they are and holds more stability in who and what they are, because everything takes on a form of clarity. The whole of the past, the present, and the future merge together. They're no longer seen as a long linear line, but they merge together as a convergence. And this occurs throughout September on these key dates. I've already spoken about the 8th and the 9th, where this is presented as an opportunity to those who are going with this energy to be able to enter that stargate and pass through it. And that takes them to the consciousness where the past, present, and future are not linear, and that they converge together. All the quantum realities converge together. So the elven ones is the etheric. It is the past and the future, for this is the crystalline human, if you will, embodied in form, but is truly light embodied in form. The elven ones are the presentation of human form through crystalline light. And that was the past in early Lemuria. And this is the future. This is the pathway that we're moving into. So 8th and 9th is the opportunity for the Singularity Stargate. This coming down on the 11th of September to ground that energy into this practicality, astrological alignment taking place, some kind of alignment with the sun, depending on which astrological model you are using. And then this spike in energy on the 13th, which is the card I just drew prior to this one. And that card was emergence. So something emerging to be seen. That could be multiple things emerging to be seen. And then the interesting fluctuations in energy on the 18th, like a sine wave pattern. And that is this one, the elven ones. Now, I feel with the elven ones, as I said to you, the 9 were talking about the fairy gateway opening, the gateway or portal to the elemental realm. It's not that that hasn't been opened, but it's now opened across a wider consciousness, much more awareness. And I feel with this, you're going to see much more fairies and elves and mermaids in the shops, and films made about these elemental beings for children, for adults, and more interest, much more interest across the globe in fairies, elves, dragons, all of the elemental beings, unicorns. With that, there's always a polarity, there's always the hijack of these, so there's always an inverted side to that, because the service to self structures always want to prevent the awareness that comes with this surge in energy or fluctuation in energy. So I feel that this will become more and more and more so. More people will be talking about the fairy kingdom, the elemental kingdom, because of the memories going back to Lemuria and where we're going as we go forward. And of course, the divine feminine goddess, presented in the form of fairy, mermaid, angel. They're all feminine, or you can have obviously masculine presentations within that, but predominantly that's a feminine presentation, to the point where you actually start to see individuals emerge and show themselves that are very, very fairy-like, almost as though, even if you're not awake in any way, you would think, gosh, that person looks really how I would imagine a fairy to look. And when you are awake and you are able to sense energy, you'll see this in people. You'll look at people and see that this is a fairy person. This individual is an incarnated elemental, and that will become to the fore. That's presented in me. It's always been in me. I've always known that. My name is Magenta Pixie, so I have that elven fairy aspect, but it's pixie through me. And there will be many, many, many others that will present who they are via either what they do, what they say, how they look, and what their name is, it could be the name of their creation, the name of their book, the name of their business, the name of their house. It could be anything, but many, many, many presentations, because they said to me that the fairy gateway, the portal into the elemental realm, becomes open around the time of the equinox in September. So I haven't got to that date yet. So this video has covered the 11th to the 18th of September, looking specifically at the 11th of September, the 13th of September, and the 18th of September as three dates to be aware of, that the 9 drew my attention to. And I was able to look deeper into these patterns with the help of these cards, the Lemurian Starchild Oracle Deck, which is really wonderful, and I'm loving working with it. So thank you so much for listening. Lots more to say about September, about the equinox, and about the energies coming and the dates in September. I'm rarely taken by the 9 to look at multiple dates in a month. This is the first time it's happened quite like this. I think back in April of 2023, I was shown several key dates, first half of April. But September, I've been shown key dates, and I feel it's not just September, it's from now on that there are key dates, not just at equinoxes and solstices and full moons and eclipses and the Lion's Gate. There are multiple key dates constantly now, all the time, because once you're at the singularity, the pulse that's being presented, the pulse that's coming out energetically into our reality, is a continuous pulse mirroring the pulse of source, and that is creation. So all these energies in September are very much about creation, making that creation physical, but also coming into the memory of who we are and that's in the higher dimensional sense, as the third dimensional realm loses that anchor, because the perception is that everything is becoming disrupted, everything is changing and being destroyed. But in truth, it's the emergence of all that's always been there. It's time for the energies that have been in secret, the energies that have been hidden, to show themselves. And they're showing themselves in two different forms, depending on the perspective of the individual that's seeing that thing or event show itself. That's why it's a bifurcation. The bifurcation is there because of the two different perceptions, making way for the trifurcation. And I feel the trifurcation is very much linked to this fairy kingdom, this memory of who we once were and where we're going. So this equinox in September does seem to be very pivotal. And I'm hoping that more information will come forward as we go into September. And I'm sure these cards will work for me to show me more insight into the energies of this month. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon. Bye. I am just so happy to be able to announce to you that my new book is available. The Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key, accessing the accelerated Stargate system through crystalline transformation of the genetic code. What does it mean to transmute one's DNA from carbon-based to crystalline within the context of spiritual enlightenment and physiological evolution? Practical templates for photonic light gene expression, alchemical unification, and light body activation are provided within this channeled transmission, delivering this codex at a time within humanity's awakening and expansion when synchronicity is abundant. The mysteries of the accelerated Stargate system as an intelligent living infinity structure call the starseeds of Earth to remember why they are incarnated here and what they came here to do. The downloads, epiphanies, and realizations that will organically come to each starseed as they immerse themselves within this sacred text are catalysts for those memories. Introducing Dreamwalker, the story, presented through my interdimensional dialogue with the monadic light structure that is the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. This book has been such an absolute delight and joy to transcribe from the 9, and I truly hope you enjoy reading it. Available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle.